Presidents, Prime Ministers, Ministers, Members of Parliament, Your Excellencies, Ladies and Gentlemen, ich freue mich heute, mit Ihnen das 20-jährige Jubiläum der Mauerfalls feiern zu können. I am happy. I am happy to join you in celebrating the 20th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. I would like to thank the Institute of Cultural Diplomacy for their invitation and more specifically its director, Mark Donfried. I see three main levels of meaning in the fall of the Berlin Wall. The beginning of the reunification of Germany, the beginning of the end of the Cold War, and the beginning of the reunification of Europe. I am going to start with the first two levels, but I will dwell at greater length on the European level because, being a French political woman in Berlin, it seems to me to be the most essential point. It will allow me to insist on one of my major political commitments, the dream of the United States of Europe, even if, within my country, within my own political party, many were surprised to see me during the European campaign in Athens with my friend, the current Prime Minister of Greece, George Papandreou, in Nantes with my French socialist comrades, insist time and time again on this idea. I would like to take the opportunity I am given here and now to emphasize it even more clearly. Some dates will forever be printed in the great book of human history. November the 9th, 1989, the day of the fall of Berlin Wall, is one of them. Today I can still remember that day. A few images come back to me. Happy faces, thousands of Berliners walking and shouting, wir sind das Volk, we are the people. A motto which, by the hour, turned into wir sind ein Volk, we are one people. Everything is within this shift, this spontaneous cohesion, this emerging brotherhood from a wall falling down to the reuniting of Germany into a single people. Just as a dam which would have collapsed and let go of the water held back for too long. And all what without anybody getting wounded, without anybody getting killed. I remember hands reaching for one another, people embracing, families reuniting, improvised concerts. I remember the improvised toasts, the mugs of beer, the joy, the faces of East German border guards torn between astonishment and emotion. A whole crowd laughing, ein Volk, one single people. I remember these days that the following live, hour after hour, an event that had still seemed impossible a few months before. Rare at that time were the analysts and the experts in criminology who could anticipate what was to come. With few exceptions, they all affirmed that on the other side of the Iron Curtain, nothing would ever change. That sooner or later, repression would strike. And in 1989, they still said that we ought not to be fooled by Mr. Gorbachev, whose glasnost and perestroika were only decoys meant to fool the West. I did not matter that the head of the Kremlin spoke of Europe as a common house, that he, for the first time, organized pluralist elections, that Andrei Sakharov was a member of the new parliament. It had been written by these experts that history was doomed to repeat itself. Those who underestimated the fullness of the changes introduced by Mr. Gorbachev, and those, often the same ones, who blamed him for being the apprentice sorcier of the involuntary disintegration of the Soviet Empire, underestimated the historical and profoundly positive role played by this great leader. Lucid on the failings of the Soviet system and determined to reform it, he was intelligent and courageous enough to reject repression. For this, we are all forever in debt to him.